Okay, now I've got to loosen this up, take this hinge, flop it back, kind of like how I showed you on that top one for fixing a sagging door, but we're not fixing a sagging door now, are we? We've got to shim this hinge out. Okay. Now see, this bottom one only has the short screws because that top hinge, if you were watching, they did that years ago because the door was probably sagging at that point, and they thought, hey, let's try to fix it that way rather than fix it the way I was doing it. They put one screw in there, one long screw. And you don't necessarily need to have long screws at the bottom if you're fixing just a sagging door, because all the weight is up at the top, not the bottom of the door. But in this particular instance, because we're going to be shimming this hinge out at a slight angle, it's going to prevent these short screws from being able to hold the hinge properly, and it might behoove us to go ahead and put longer screws there, because we're going to have a slight angle on that, which is going to decrease the hinge angle of the holding power of those screws. You see, and in reality, we're going to have the hinge about at that angle. Do you see what I mean? We're going to do that by putting some screws in there and using the screws in the back of this as a shim and to adjust it. Okay, so let's see how we can do this. And on these, I'm gonna put it, I don't want to put it too close because I don't want to split this last bit off, even by putting the screws back in. You see, this one I don't want to. I could put it up there. I guess that'll be all right. About like that, and about there. Okay. I don't want to get it any further to this edge. Okay. So, and I don't want to just put the screw in there. I'm going to pre-drill that out. If I put the screw in there, can you see this is real wood. It's pine usually. Not all frames are made the same nowadays. It could be fake wood, but this edge could split, especially if I'm putting a screw there and a screw there. It weakens this whole thing, and it could split the whole thing. We don't want that, so that's why I'm going to drill this. And this edge, when I'm drilling beyond the 3/4 of an inch, I'm drilling into the edge of the drywall. So it goes in, and I get white bit that comes out. That's because that's the drywall behind there. Okay, so now I've got my 1.25" drywall screws, and I'm going to put that in there. And this is my shim. That's it. I don't have to do anything else. Okay, I'm just going to, on their flat heads, I'm just going to make it flush, or let it stick out just a hair. It doesn't have to be much. You think, oh, is that even going to be enough? See, it's just so I can feel it. And that's probably enough. If I need to move it out further, I just loosen up the screws. Maybe I should keep those loosened up a little bit. And then see, when I put the door hinge back on, can you see that's going to put an angle on there? And like that. So now I gotta put this screw in there. That's why I think even these small screws towards the left where I got the both screwdrivers right now aren't gonna hold eventually. See? So I got that angle on there. So for the time being, all I'm gonna do is put these 2 screws in, okay? That's it. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna put these other little screws in there right now. They're not really gonna do much. And if I do that and tighten it down and then take it back out and adjust it, tighten it back down, take it out, eventually these little ones are gonna strip out of the wood because I'm not tightening it up into the door jamb all the way. I'm gonna have a gap between the back of that and the door jamb now, right? Well, these 2 for the time being are fine. Okay, now I'm gonna do the middle one exactly the same way as that. And that's putting an angle on this hinge. Can you see that? So that when we close the door, it's going to move the door over. I don't want to do it just yet until I do the other 2 hinges. But you see how this is the middle one. See how it's tight at the back side of there. Now look at this one. See how much? Just see how far over it is? That far. You don't really see it, do you? After I get it all screwed, but and I hardly have the screws out that far. That's because that's how much you can get at that angle. That's going to move that way over. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and do the top hinge, the middle hinge. Now, the middle hinge I'm going to do right now. The top hinge, before I do the top hinge, what am I going to do? Yes, I'm going to take my 2x4, put it underneath there, wedge it under there so I can take it off so it's not going to sag on me, so I can put the other one back in and all that. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Well, you know, do you really need to see this second one? I don't know. See that one, I'll get you set up. We'll show you that one. That's all I got for this time, but I'll be back with more videos, and hopefully you learned something. You spent a little time with Video Joe. You saw what it takes: patience and determination to get something done, a never give up attitude. And if that's you, that's what my videos will show you, how an average Joe is going to fix things around the house to save money. And you're learning it from an average Joe. What could be better than that? Because you can see all the trials and tribulations I go through in order to get something fixed. You'll be able to see how I Joe Guyver certain things in the future. If you choose to continue to watch my videos, you'll learn all that stuff. You'll learn how to save money, keep that money in your pocket. Why pay somebody else when you can do it yourself? Alrighty then.